Talk, the official podcast of the Brampton Steelheads. And if you're listening right here in Saga 960 AM, or you could be watching on YouTube, there's three different ways to get a hold of this great podcast. My name is Mike Karafilidis. And along with my compadre, Brendan Lang, we're both broadcasters of the Brampton Steelheads. Brampton Steelheads, yes. They've been looking good lately, Brent. But first, let's start off with Brendan. Hey, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I've been pretty good, right? Like you said, the Steelheads have been playing some decent hockey as of late. And for me, it's just kind of been more of the same. I guess last weekend, because we didn't have a show the week before, I actually got out on the pond. It froze over finally around my house, so me and my friends went out, played for like 5 hours last Sunday. It was
Wow.
yeah, it was a really nice day actually. It was sunny. There was no wind. It was like five minus
Huh.
5 degrees, and it was
What
yeah.
pond were you at?
Yeah, I live on a ravine, so like there's a bunch of ponds around my house here that we've gone to for like since we were, 10 years old. So
Oh,
we're still
wow.
yeah, still playing it. It finally got cold enough. Last year I think we only got out once. It's actually been pretty cold here recently, so
Mm-hmm.
probably be able to get out again at some point. But yeah, that was fun. Other than that though, not too much going on.
That ice must be really thick then.
Oh yeah,
Weren't
yeah.
you
I
scared of
mean,
like going right through the ice or something with your
no, no,
skates?
man. We've played on it since we were 10 years old. And we know when we know when it's
10
cold
years
enough.
old,
Like
eh?
like
Wow.
I mean, my dad used to build a
That's
rink in the backyard, so we'd either play in the backyard or we'd go to the pond. And
that's great.
yeah, so it's funny, it's the same guy still playing. And yeah, it's once you get like a week of like under -10 at night, the ice will be thick enough. You'll be good to go.
Oh,
It's not
yeah.
that deep either. So it was yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was a good time. Good time.
Good. Amazing. Very, very good. Well, on this side of the aisle, things are good. I think I was telling you already, but I guess I'll tell the people. My son skated for the first time,
Yeah.
and he looked really good. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, I was very, very impressed the way he was helping himself up, the way he was skating. He was doing little pitter step uh, steps. You know what I mean? All right,
Yep.
and they had the good teachers there and stuff like that. But really proud of him. Really proud parents over here. I'll tell you that right now. So, and I was screaming at him. I'm not screaming. I mean, motivating him, right? I'm
Right,
like, come
right.
on. I'm like, attaboy, Nico. I'm like, attaboy, good job, attaboy. Come on, keep it up. Let's go. And then he's looking at me, and then he fell for the first time, and I'm like, oh no, right? Because you never know what's going to happen when they fall the first time. He gets up, gives me a thumbs up, and he starts smiling. I said out loud, I go, attaboy. I says to him, that's no, I was very proud of him. So, but other than that, yeah, right. So back at the rink, I mean, really, really busy, of course. We had some games. Well, let's go over the weekend. I guess we can start off with the Owen Sound Attack. Kind of, well, a 5-4 win for the Owen Sound Attack in overtime, Brendan. Uh, Steelheads had a 4-1 lead going into that third period, though. Coming up with a point, should have came with two, though. Let's be real.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, it's big to pick up points wherever you can. Owen Sound, a team that's not in the playoff picture right now, and uh, a team kind of similar in a similar spot as North Bay the weekend before that the
Mm-hmm.
Steelheads played. Of course, in the Western Conference with the Owen Sound Attack, but I think the Steelheads, they played a good 40 minutes, 45, 48 minutes. Like, I mean, for the majority of the game, they were the noticeable better team out there. They were up 4-1,
Right.
as you mentioned, in the third period. And then it just kind of fell apart a little bit in the defensive zone, and especially when you're playing against a team that's not in the playoff picture. And those are the games kind of that you're expected to win. Those are the games you have to win going down the stretch if you want to move up in the standings, because obviously the Steelheads dealt with so many injuries. We talked at length about that, so they kind of stalled out, did the best that they could at the time with a lot of their players out of the lineup. Now's the time to really start jumping up the standings. So it is tough to lose out on a point on that one, but if you want to look at the positive side of it, again, they were the better team for the vast majority of that game, and then just some defensive zone hiccups that I think can definitely be turned around, and then of course the overtime winner by Landon Hookie. So yeah, I think there are definitely positives to take out of that, but obviously not the result the Steelheads were looking for.
That was the first First game for Konnor Smith against his old team, who got traded over from the Owen Sound attack. Uh, but I'll give you my impression of that game right now. I mean, I'm probably thinking the same wavelength as you. They're just, they're coasting right along, 2 periods, everything's looking good. And then it just came down to a couple mistakes in the third period, and Owen Sound capitalized on it. But you got to give Owen Sound credit, though. They're
Mhm.
a scrappy, young team that worked really hard in that third period and really deserved to get those 2 points. But maybe, yeah, so Steelers get a point out of that, which is fine, which is good. A point is good, right? Better than zero. And we will now they move on to play the Kitchen Rangers. Total bounce back game, big win, 4-1. Brendan, I mean, Jack Ivankovic was absolutely phenomenal in that game. Luke Misa with a hat trick as well. Uh, I thought the defense was really, really good in that game. Spencer Sova, probably one of his, I mentioned it before, I'll mention it again, probably is one of his best games of the season. The way he was coming up and down the ice, the former assistant captain, of course, of the Erie Otters, came over in the beginning of the season. Just to clarify that for anybody who doesn't know, the way he was using his speed, the way he was hitting, just a total different player. I thought it was best game of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were a lot of positives to take out of that Kitchener game. And before I move to that, you're right. I think Owen Sound, you have to give them credit. Young teams, they're always going to come out with a lot of fight. They're young players, they're trying to prove themselves in the league. So it's always going to be that way. And Owen Sound is no different. For the Kitchener game, I think the Steelheads all year, I mean, they've gotten up to play the top teams, and that game was no different. Like Kitchener, obviously they just beat, just over a week before that in Kitchener. It was actually the only regulation loss that Kitchener had in the past 10 games going into that, and then the
Yeah.
Steelheads do pick up the win. But all the things that you laid out there, I mean, there's just so many positives to take from that. First, you said Jack Ivankovic came up with a huge game against the Kitchener Rangers. That's now 2 games against Kitchener that he's been great in this year. Obviously, he's going to be a huge piece of this team going down the stretch. And another thing you mentioned, of course, Luke Misa getting the hat trick, 4 points. He picks up an assist as well on the other goal. Misa had kind of been slumping a little bit going into that game. So to be able to get that, I think he didn't have points in the 3 before the Owen Sound game. He did have an assist in
Right.
the Owen Sound game, and then he gets the 4 there against Kitchener. So I think that that's such a big piece of the puzzle to that game is, of course, they get the win. Yes, he picks up the 4 points, but it's to kind of break through. And if you can get him going on that second line, I mean, you got to watch out for this offense because we know what the top line's been doing. Martone, Rakoff, McDonnell. Sure, they haven't played together as much in recent days, but we know they're going to put up the offense. If you get somebody like Luke Misa going, as he's been all season long, just a slight kind of slowdown there, but I would expect him to ramp it right back up. You get him going again. You get Adam Zidlicki back in the lineup, who's had a great season. Vilmer Ulrichsen, who's looked really good since he's come over in the trade. Now you're looking at some serious a serious second line and some serious depth. So big game for Luke Misa, big game for the Steelheads, and then Spencer Sova. Great game. Remember James Richmond a couple weeks ago said that he challenged him, and
Yes.
and not just this Kitchener, even though I do agree with you that it was probably his best game of the season. After James Richmond told us that, he's looked like a different player in all the games that I've
100%.
seen him playing. Like the
More physical.
intensity is there, the intensity and the physicality in the defensive zone is massively different that we've seen from Sova. Just the buy-in, and he was. I mean, he was still really good early on in the year, and I think he's even taken it to another level. You know that the offense is going to be there. He's still, like you said, moving with the puck well, all that. But now in the defensive zone, bringing the physicality, bringing that intensity. I mean, he's looked really, really good these past 2 weeks.
And you got to like, too. I mean, the team is healthy. I'm going to say it again. The team is healthy again now. And it seems like to me, maybe the chemistry is starting to come back. You can
Yeah,
totally see it, right? And so, the chemistry is not going to come back right away, folks. I mean, this team is healthy. It has been healthy now for what? A couple weeks now. That's it. Three
yeah.
weeks, right?
And
Hasn't been
even
a
when
full
everyone
team
got
again.
when everyone got healthy, you had Rakoff who missed a little bit with an illness. You had
There you
Zidlicki who
go.
missed a little bit with an
Yeah,
illness. So even
correct.
then, they haven't fully been healthy.
Now they're healthy. And now you can see the chemistry starting to come back. And this is a good thing. This is what this everybody expected out of this Steelheads team is to be dominant. Expect them to really, really have a good second half of this season. As long as everybody stays healthy, I think they're going to really, really make a push. Let's talk about the standings really, really quick here. So now the Steelheads, they gained a lot on that weekend. So now they're only 4 points behind the Sudbury Wolves for that sixth place in the Eastern Conference as the Steelheads sit in seventh. Steelheads have a game in hand. Bulldogs, 52 points, who sit in 5th place in the Eastern Conference. This is how close it is. And the Steelheads, with 45 points, still have 2 games in hand on the Brantford Bulldogs. This is huge. Now, they play the Sudbury Wolves 4 more times, right? Just to say, the Brantford Bulldogs once. And I kind of wish the schedule maker didn't put all those games against the Brantford Bulldogs when everybody was hurt. When everybody was hurt and everybody's off of World Juniors. Otherwise, it probably would have been a different story. But I'll tell you something right now. Those APs really played well against the Brantford Bulldogs.
Yeah.
But so then you look at the Barrie Colts, or the Kingston Frontenacs with 53 points, who sit in 4th in the Eastern Conference. The Barrie Colts in 3rd with 54 points. I mean, look how close this is. Niagara Ice Dogs with 55 points sitting in 2nd. The Oshawa Generals with 56 points sitting in 1st. Steelheads have 3 games in hand on the 1st place Oshawa Generals, just to say. 2 games in hand on the 2nd place Niagara Ice Dogs. 1 game in hand on the Barrie Colts. Same amount of games played with the Kingston Frontenacs, but I expect them to make a big push in the second half. And we're going to see that Steelheads team that was ranked high in the CHL standings to start the season.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. As you said, everybody getting back. Obviously, the chemistries takes a little bit of time to get everybody going, but it seems like they're really starting to click on all cylinders. And yeah, they're looking. Obviously, it's a tough road trip coming up. 4 games here on the road. You got the 3 coming up this weekend that we'll talk a little bit about later on in the show. But yeah, it's a big stretch for them, and I like the way that they're trending at this point.
All right, so let's take a break, and then we'll come back with our guest. And it's a big guest. I'll tell you that right now. When we come back right here at Saga 960 AM. All right, welcome back to Trout Talk right here at Saga 960 AM. Mike Karafilidis along with Brendan Lang. We are both broadcasters of the Brampton Steelheads. And I'd like to welcome in. He's 6'6", 217 pounds. I feel like a wrestling announcer here. 17 pounds, defenseman, property of the Anaheim Ducks, the Big Rick, Konnor Smith, defenseman. Welcome to Trout Talk, Konnor. How you doing?
Thank you. Doing very good. And yeah, it's an honor to be here and do this little podcast with you guys.
I love it so much. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. It's an honor. You see that? Look at the manners on this guy, Brendan.
Wow.
I told you.
I love the intro too.
You know, right? I know.
Oh, yeah.
I should have been. I'm telling you, I should have been a wrestling announcer, man. All right. So my first question, I'll start it off, I guess, Konnor. What do you tell the people what you bring to the Brampton Steelheads?
Yeah, I'm a big shutdown physical defenseman. I'm brought in here to play my physical style of game and to instill fear into opponents and to also keep the puck out of the net. Do my best ability to do that, and then just be that physical presence and just I guess like I don't know. It's a weird way to explain it, but my play style allows other guys to be more confident out there and do their thing, and it's a team effort to go for this championship.
And we've seen kind of how you've meshed on the ice with the team. It's been a pretty short time, but how's kind of the meshing been off the ice and just kind of with all the guys?
Yeah, it's great. Great group of guys, great group of coaches, and everyone gets along. Everyone jokes around with each other. It's a great room, great atmosphere in there, and it's definitely what you need for a championship team.
All right. My question is, how did you get the nickname the Big Rig? I got to know. Please tell me.
Yeah, it goes a while back. I think I was 13 years old or 14 years old, and Eric Wellwood is a buddy of my dad, and met him for the first time, and he goes, you know what? You're a Big Rig. He's like, I'm going to call you Big Rig. So he called me Big Rig, and then my dad kind of stuck with it, and then it just stuck with me, and everyone else started in Peterborough and Owen Sound. Everyone just called me Big Rig or the Rig. So I guess that's how it stuck.
Love it.
So you say at that point you were like 13, 14. Like, have you always been taller than everyone else? Was there like a big growth spurt in there?
Yeah, I've always been taller than everybody else. I never really had like a big growth spurt. It was always just a good growth every year, right? So I guess I was always on the bigger side.
I'd say. Holy moly. Well, you know what? Okay, so you won a championship with the Peterborough Petes, right? And you come over, and then and then you got traded to the Owen Sound Attack, and then you got traded to the Brampton Steelheads, of course. Now, winning that championship with the Petes, what kind of advice do you have for the guys? Do the guys ever ask you, talk to me about that experience and all that kind of stuff? And what can you tell the guys about that experience, being the
Yeah,
leader that you are?
yeah, it was obviously a great experience, but a lot of it comes off the ice. How the team is off the ice, how you interact with each other, how you hold guys accountable. It's a lot on the players and obviously the coaching staff as well. But the players got to take it into their own hands and have each other's backs, but also be able to correct the guy without taking it personal and stuff like that. So. And then on the ice speaks for itself. Obviously, you need all the tools. You need to score goals. You need to keep goals out of the net. You need great goaltending, great defense, great forwards, which we all have. So it's definitely a team that I definitely love, and it reminds me of the team in Peterborough that we had. So it's a good sight to see, and I'm very excited for the future.
And Mikey kind of just laid out there the history of you being traded, of course, to Owen Sound and then being traded a second time. Most guys, don't get traded twice when they're in the OHL. So how does that experience help you, already going through this now, coming into it for the second time?
Yeah, obviously it makes it a little bit easier. You know what to expect, and being an overager in this league, I kind of know guys on each team. Played with Stevie and Van Bolsen and Peterborough for a little bit, so it made it a little bit easier coming in. But yeah, you get to know guys on the ice, whether it's for good or bad. But when you're on the same team, you put everything to the side, and it's a brotherhood. So I've been here not even 2 weeks, and I can already tell. Like this is family. Like we're a team that's going to go far, and we're going to do a lot of damage.
Oh man, I love it. I love everything you're saying right now. Is just like it's so soothing, right? But everybody says the same thing, right? But it's not just you. All right, so I mean, you're going to be going into Windsor this weekend, right? And this is a place where you grew up. Probably going to be your last, most likely be your last game in Windsor, right? I'm sure there's going to be lots of family and friends that are going to be watching you. Of course, being a Windsor native. Talk about that emotionally, how you're going to be feeling going in there.
Yeah, it's a great experience. I still remember the first time I played in Windsor. Had close to 200, 300 people come out and support me. It means a lot. I'm a big family guy, and there's lots of friends and family out there. Yeah, like in Owen Sound, it was actually the game right before my injury. The next game was actually in Windsor, so missed out on that, but it worked out perfectly where I get to go back home for that last time and just soak it up and come away with the 2 points.
There you go.
Now, of course, being from Windsor, is that your favorite place to play outside of home throughout your career?
Yeah, I think Windsor is because I always thought it was a really neat rink, really cool rink. It's in my top 5, maybe even top 3 for rinks in the OHL. So yeah, I definitely put it up there.
So you're drafted by the Anaheim Ducks, of course. You had some experience with the San Diego Gulls, with their AHL team. So talk about that. Talk about the whole experience.
Yeah, it's been a great experience so far. This year played 2 preseason games before I came back to the OHL, so that was huge to get that experience under my belt, playing against NHL guys. And then last year, getting the call up to San Diego at the end of the season, it was great to get 6 pro games under my belt as well. See how different it is compared to junior hockey. Like here, it's we're 16 to 20 years old, and over there in San Diego in the AHL, there's guys who are providing for the family. There's guys that have kids, so it's a totally different, I guess, mindset and atmosphere. But yeah, just coming back to the OHL this year, bringing that wisdom and doing whatever I can to help the boys.
And what can you take from that? Like you said, kind of bringing back the wisdom, whether that be like routine off the ice or on the ice stuff from your time in camp with Anaheim playing in preseason, or with your time with San Diego last year.
Yeah, a lot of people get caught up in the performance on the ice, but a lot of that performance on the ice comes from what you do off the ice. So that's prioritizing your sleep schedule, prioritizing your eating, your habits. So a big thing that's also overlooked is stretching. That's a big part, especially for a long playoff run. You're playing a game every other night. It's physical, sometimes 7 games in a series, and you guys are just beating each other up, right? So you just gotta prioritize the stuff off the ice and your health ultimately, and your longevity to go the whole playoffs.
I want to circle back here a little bit. Circle back to when you got traded that night. I'll never forget. And you played the next day. I just want to tell before you get to the thing, but I was going to tell you a funny story. So you played the next day against Ottawa. You came in. I'll never forget. Before you can answer, tell me about that experience because it was crazy. I'll never forget. I was sitting inside the media room, and this Ottawa fella, I don't know who he was, sits down beside me. And he goes, "So you guys got Konnor Smith, do you?" I said, "Yep." He goes, "Is he playing tonight?" I go, "Yep." And he goes like this. And he goes, "Oh, okay." Then he walks away. I'm like, "Okay, take care." Anyway, talk about that experience, Konnor, because you got traded the night before against the game against Ottawa. That must have been crazy, jumping on a plane and whatnot and throwing everything on and boom. Talk about it.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience this time because when I was traded to Owen Sound, I knew something might be happening, but I didn't really know what or when. But this time I had a pretty good idea it was going to be Brampton, and I was packed up before the break just in case, and then came back, and it was just there was a few different things, but so it finally went through, and I was excited, and the coaches and the GM and coach obviously gave me a call and like, welcome to the team. We want you to play tomorrow. And I'm like, all right. I've been out for 2.5 months already. I've been chomping at the bit to get back to it. So they're like, all right, you're gonna be on a flight at 11 p.m. You're gonna fly into Ottawa, and it was awesome. They're very welcoming with open arms, and getting me on that flight to get me there ASAP was awesome. And then I was rooming with Stevie Lescovar that night, so it was a nice little reunite. And
That's awesome.
He stayed up for me, and he was suspended, so he didn't have to worry about staying up too late. But he welcomed me in. We chatted for a little bit, and then finally got to sleep. But it was just a great experience overall.
How was the rehab, I guess I should say, with the injury, of course? I mean, missing extended time. How do you kind of make sure that you're staying ready throughout those months off?
Yeah, it's tough. Especially being the captain on sound as well. You can't lead the way you want to lead because you're not in the room during games and whatnot. But I did my best to still be that leader in the room and just help guys along, guide them, whatever it was. And it was just trying to better myself every day, no matter how small it was. I'm a big believer in getting 1% better each day. So whether it was I would go on after practice and do a little skate myself, or I'd actually go on with one stick in my left hand, and then I'd have my cast on, and I was just pushing pucks around as basically a coach out there. So
That's awesome.
it was doing whatever I could to still be around the boys, going out for breakfast with them every day. So it was just it was obviously pretty long recovery, 2.5 months, but I'm pretty sure I did the best I could to better myself, and now it's over, which is nice, and back to playing. So yeah.
Konnor, did you ever think about playing basketball?
I've been asked this quite a bit. But I can't shoot a basketball for the life of me. So yeah. So
No?
I'm pretty uncoordinated dribbling. I can't shoot the ball. So
all right.
I know I got the height, but
post up.
Yeah.
I'll just give it to you right. I'd say, look, just post up. I'm giving it to you. Just slam it home every time.
Yeah, just dunk it. Yeah.
Can you dunk? Can you dunk?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
I've worked at it because I couldn't before, but I was like, I'm 6'6", I should be able to dunk. So,
so not basketball, but did you play any other sports growing up?
I played lacrosse when I was growing up, like around like 10 to 14, 15. Nothing crazy, just like house league, and then hockey took to like it was more important, obviously, and then played soccer when I was younger. Played up with my brother who's 2 years older, and then I was never really a baseball guy. Football always interested me, but obviously my mom was like, "No, you're not playing football. It's too violent." So
yeah, then you're gonna have a broken collarbone like me. Yeah, I'll tell you. when I broke my collarbone when I was playing football when I was in high school. I broke my collarbone,
Oh man.
and I'll never forget. And I was totally out of it. And then my mom was the first one that came into the emergency room. And it's funny how you say that. She says, "I told you not to play football. I told you not to play football because it's too much." Whatever. Anyway, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just the way moms are.
Oh yeah.
But lacrosse is okay, right? That's
Yeah,
what they think in their
yeah.
head. It's like, hey.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense.
But
Yeah.
like talk about you seems like you're really starting to find your own as well, like on the ice with your rehab. You're saying you were telling me before you're starting to get your legs back. So where are you at right now? Are you at 95%? You're at 99%? Where are you at?
Yeah. My injury won't be at 100% until they said it until like 3 months after, but there's no way I can re-injure it basically other than having the same thing happen again. So it's just working through like the discomfort, obviously. But legs wise and lungs wise, I think I'm basically 100% right now. Probably I'd say maybe 98%. But yeah. So no, everything's going very well, and then just wait until the thumb catches up. But yeah.
What was it like a few games ago having to play against your old team? That's got to be kind of funny seeing your old teammates there from like 2 weeks ago out on the ice against you.
Yeah, no, it was obviously a unique experience. It was pretty cool. But obviously would like to come away with the 2 points, but we'll get them next time when we're in one sound.
All right, what are some of the things that Konnor Smith likes to do off the ice? We know he likes to play he played soccer and all that kind of stuff. Do you know how to play cricket?
Ooh, no, I do not.
Okay. Do you know are you a golfer? I'm just
I am.
sports.
I actually
Okay.
I'm not the best because I had free clubs, but I just got a brand new set of clubs. So definitely gotta get lessons and work on my golf game, that's for sure.
So what else do you like to do in the off season?
Yeah, my brother's actually he used to be a professional video gamer. So
wow.
he lived in Vegas for a year playing. It's a game called Rainbow Six Siege, and then played in a $3 million tournament in Vegas or in Paris actually. And it's crazy how it's two ends of the spectrum. One, playing hockey, and then one is a video gamer. But so I play games with him in some of my free time, and then. I love hanging with the boys and just doing whatever I can to hang out with guys. And I like to be pretty social, so whatever it is, I'll go hang out with the guys. And then golf, like I said, I definitely want to get better at that. But
Rugby.
What games are you playing with your brother?
Anywhere from like Call of Duty to his game Rainbow Six Siege. Right now I just started playing Minecraft again actually.
Oh, nice.
But it's a bunch of different games. So
that's pretty wild. All right. So I want to know too, and I ask everybody this, and we're gonna see if you pass the test. Okay? Maybe somebody already told you that I'm gonna ask you this question. How do you like your steak?
Well, rare. I gotta go rare.
Right,
What?
like rare, no medium rare, just straight rare.
Straight rare.
Wow,
Yeah.
You and Brendan are best friends then. Okay.
Yeah.
Me, I'm a medium well guy. I'm gonna insult you by saying that.
Well, I thought you said you like yours.
No. I'm on the other side of the spectrum, man. That's pretty insulting to somebody who eats steak rare.
To make you feel better, when I was younger, maybe like 4 years ago, I used to be very paranoid about any meat I ate. So my chicken had to be basically burnt. My steak had to be well done. And then I realized that I can start eating steak rare. And then also had have you ever had beef tartare?
Yeah,
I've never tried it.
Oh, okay. I highly recommend it.
It sounds like it's Japanese or something.
Yeah.
it's good.
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I would only recommend having it at like a higher end place, obviously, because it's raw beef. But yeah,
nice. Well,
I honestly, I think you're the first.
You're good.
Yeah, I think you're the first person to say straight rare. So that's yeah.
No. My wife, she likes it like that rare. Right?
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of funny. Oh yeah, if I'm cooking a barbecue, boys, and she's mine's first, and then whatever, like my son, he takes it off me, right? And then I got to keep it on for another like 15, 20 minutes on each side. Not 15, 20, but you know what I mean? And she's got to look at it. It's got to be rare. Rare. Everything rare. So she's the same. So just to say, you guys
Yeah.
have something in common. That's kind of cool.
Now, what do you prefer, barbecue steak or a pan seared?
Well, I like barbecue steak.
It's a
Barbecue
great
steak,
question. I'm
man.
going to go barbecue too, just because I think I've
Yeah.
eaten more barbecue.
Yeah,
Okay.
Connor, you know what? I will cook a steak in the garage in the wintertime to make sure it's barbecue steak. That's just the way I am.
Really?
Not too cold like this, but yeah, it's just the way I am. I go in the garage. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just my whole kind of thing, just relaxing. Like I'm cooking. You ever seen like Trailer Park Boys and Ricky
Oh
when he's
yeah.
cooking? He's always focused, right? So that's like me when I'm cooking a steak.
Yeah.
I got a
Well, hey,
feeling he doesn't agree. I think he's a
Yeah.
pan-sear guy.
you gotta try a pan seared. You gotta
Okay.
baste it in butter, and then
All right.
some garlic, some rosemary, some thyme, and it'll
Oh, I
change
like
your
that.
opinion. I promise you.
Oh, I believe you. I
Yeah.
believe you. All right. So you give me that recipe on the weekend.
All right.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. I like that.
Yeah.
Brendan, this guy's a machine. Honestly, God. He's an
Yeah,
absolute
for
machine.
sure.
I remember before we used to see him and like in the lineup and we play for Peterborough. It was Konnor Smith. Oh my gosh, this guy's got our number. But anyways, just to say. Sorry, Brendan, go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
100%. You're right. I think the last thing we usually ask this question too, because I think it's interesting. But do you have any like superstitions, pregame rituals that you got to do before you play?
Oof. I'm not a crazy superstitious guy, but just a nap. That's it. Just a good nap.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
I like
for as
that.
long as I can. So, yeah.
How you liking this defensive core? You know, you're playing a lot with Parker Von Richter, of course. That's a good guy to play with, right?
Yeah.
Talk about the defensive core because you said this reminds you of the Peterborough team. So how does it remind you of the Peterborough team?
Yeah, the whole decor is very strong, very deep. Yeah, so like we don't have three overagers, which you don't see too often, but it's guys who got a lot of experience in the league. And then yeah, PVR he's an 06, but he plays like he's an overager. You got Fibiger and Finn Harding, both great players who got some more offense than maybe me and some of the other guys. But yeah, so and then Reege's just a very good shutdown guy, brings the physical aspect, and yeah, it's just I feel like I'm forgetting. Oh, Sova, another guy, very very good offensive defenseman, runs the power play great and all that. So yeah, there's skill, talent everywhere, and everyone's got their own kind of toolbox that they've mastered, and it's it's everyone's abilities and skills that are gonna bring together and yeah, bring us as far as we can. And then I know I haven't seen him play, but Dragusic, I think it's
you got it.
yeah,
Good job.
yeah. I know he's a great defenseman as well, and yeah, just looking forward to seeing him get back in the lineup too.
All right. Well, Connor, thank you. Thanks so much for coming on. It was nice to meet you, and good luck the rest of this season.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Thanks
I appreciate
so much
it.
for joining. Hey, really appreciate you coming on, my man. And I look forward to seeing you this weekend, and get some wins. And of course, and one more thing I want to say. You really feel this team has a championship pedigree. Was that correct?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Connor. And
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Get that nap in. Thanks so much.
Yep. Thank you.
All
I
right.
appreciate it. Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Connor. All right. That was Konnor Smith, the big rig, 6'6", 218 pounds, defenseman of the Brampton Steelheads. We'll talk about the interview and more when we come back right here in Trout Talk on Saga 960 AM. Welcome back to Trout Talk right here in Saga 960 AM. Or if you're watching on YouTube, the official podcast of the Brampton Steelheads, Mike Karafilidis, along with Brendan Lang, are both broadcasters of the Brampton Steelheads. Just had on the big rig, Konnor Smith. I'll just say one thing, leader. That's my impression of that interview right there.
That's a great word to describe Konnor Smith, I think. I really like the story of how he got the nickname of Big Rig. Sometimes it's a long story. That one was just short, right to the point. Kyle Wellwood, of course, ex-Leaf, called him that one day, and there it was. That was the name that stuck. And I mean, we can see why when you see him out there. He's not just big, but he uses his size very effectively. Obviously plays with a physical edge. So Yeah, awesome guy to talk to. And you're right. I think leader is a great word to describe him. You can tell, obviously, like he said, it's been less than 2 weeks, and he's already one of the best leaders on this team. So it's a huge addition, and I think it's been great so far.
Yeah, he's been he's just a pro right off the bat. Like the way he talks, the way he manages himself, and this is a guy that's had games with the San Diego Gulls. He's played in the
Yeah.
AHL already, like a drafted pick of the Anaheim Ducks. Um, uh, he's just coming back from an injury, don't forget. But I'll tell you something. He's just getting his legs now. He's at 98%. I'm telling you. And he said it best. This defensive core is really, really good if they can stay healthy. And he's gonna be he's gonna be a huge leader back there.
100%. And I think I liked what he said too, because there's so many different skill sets on the back end as well. Like it's not, the players aren't the same. Like you have kind of himself and Parker Von Richter, who are great defensive guys. Yes, they can produce a little bit of offense as well, but they're kind of like the shutdown pair. Fibiger and Harding, same thing. They're a little bit of defense, but maybe they got a little more on the offensive side. Then you have Sova, who is great in the offensive aspect of the game. Leskovar brings the physicality like Smith does. Reed Gee, another guy who brings a lot of physicality. Dragusika, when he's in the lineup, he's more of a physical guy as well. So they have so many different skill sets, and I think that's the makings of a great defensive core, is when you don't all do the same thing, when you kind of all complement each other. And
Right.
And you're right. I think that's the way that this D core is built.
And last thing, you know what? They're all 6 feet tall. They're all over 6 feet. They're all big boys. They're all big,
Right.
and they're ready to go. And you could tell for a big run. I'm telling you, the second half. All right, Brendan, let's move on. Let's move on to the next games for the Steelheads. And of course, these will be done by the time this is done. But let's start off with the Barrie Colts. 5th time this season. Thank goodness we haven't seen them for a long time, because it seemed like we played them a lot in the beginning of the season. But this is a team that loaded up at the trade deadline.
They sure did. I mean, right now the season series is at 2-2. It's kind of the rubber match here so far in this season series between the two. And you're right. I mean, they're a team that absolutely loaded up at the deadline. Maybe got off to a little bit of a slow start after the deadline, but I would not expect that to continue. They're a really strong team. They got a lot of players from North Bay, of course. Van Steensel comes over. Wakely came over earlier on in the season. Romani as well. Yeah, in that trade. So I mean, they have an older team, a really experienced team, and we know they got a good goalie as well. So there's a lot to like about this Barrie team, and I think it's going to be a great matchup between these two teams, and a matchup that I think we could see a little later on in the year and into the playoffs.
It's a possibility, folks. It's a possibility. I mean, these two teams really, when you think about it, are evenly matched. A lot. Offensively, both can score. Defensively, both are good. I think the Steelheads have the edge, maybe defensively, in my opinion. Maybe just a tad. Actually, more than a tad, but I think they do. Goaltending. Hillebrand's good. Korvik's good. It's pretty even Stevens. What a matchup that's going to be on Thursday. Next game is on Saturday night. It will be against the Flint Firebirds. And what a spirited affair it was the last time these two teams met. In Flint, it will be, it will be in Flint this time. Second last meeting of the season between these two teams.
Right. Flint, it's a tough place to go and play. You got to, of course, you got the border and everything, and you play there.
Tropical night or something.
Oh, tropical night. Oh, that'll be interesting. You must be excited for that. I know how much you love the tropics. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Maybe I'll come in my bathing suit too.
They probably encourage that.
Take top and all right, here we go. Imagine they look at me like, what is this guy doing? But anyway, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I'll come with suntan lotion.
Yeah, sunglasses, everything.
Like this. Oh my goodness, the people
who
is this guy? But yeah, what a matchup that would be. From the first time these two teams met, it was the Steelheads came out with a big win in overtime. But it was a physical affair. Coach getting thrown out of the game, Paul Flash. Brendan, wow.
Yeah, it was a physical game right from the beginning. Like, I mean, of course, we had Stevie Leskovar getting suspended in that game, and you drew a crowd afterwards. So I think there's probably going to be some bad blood between these between these two teams. I could see that definitely being the case. Connor Clattenburg also getting suspended in that game. So it's it's gonna be a physical affair. I would not expect anything different from these two teams going into this one. I like the Steelheads' chances. Of course, it's tough, going over the border, playing in Flint. It's always going to be difficult. But Flint has had a decent season, but still, if you're the Steelheads, I think these are some of the games that you really, really want to start picking up these 2 points in regularly.
One thing I'll say about the Flint Firebirds, I'm really shocked they didn't do anything at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Really, really shocked. Really shocked. I mean, they gave away a guy.
Yeah.
Zorowski, right? To the he got traded. So I mean, one of their best young players got traded. They didn't really add. I don't know. I find it kind of weird.
Yeah, a little bit of a different deadline. You're right there from Flint. So we'll see how it pans out for them for the rest of the season. Right now, sitting in 6th place with 40 points in the Western Conference. The
Good goaltending, though.
Yeah, very good goaltending, 100%. That's something the Steelheads definitely are going to have to watch out for in that game.
Yeah, Nathan Day, the Edmonton Oilers draft pick we're talking about. All right, so let's tee it up. This will be coming up at 4 p.m. right here in Saga 960 a.m. And that will be the Windsor Spitfires, second and final meeting of the season between these two teams. The last time these two teams met, the Steelheads lost this game in overtime to the Windsor Spitfires, and that was way, way, way back when in October. So what's changed, Brendan? What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I can barely remember that game against the Windsor Spitfires. It was so long ago. Windsor, I mean, a great team. Like they're one of the best teams in the OHL, of course, right now in 2nd place, just a few points behind the London Knights. So Windsor also a really difficult place to play. So it'll be a spirited bout again. I think it's another game that will bring a lot of physicality to teams trying to be at the top of their conference at the end of it. I really like this matchup. If I'm not mistaken, it was the Spitfires winning the first game,
right?
7-5. Yep. So they do have the win in the season series so far. It's just 2 games, correct? This is the last time they'll be facing. Yeah, right. So yeah, it's a team that you don't see a lot. So maybe there's not as much sort of rivalry there, but when you're fighting for position, there's always going to be some rivalry involved in that. And obviously, Konnor Smith going back to his hometown, playing in Windsor. Of course, he'll have some family and friends out there. So a big one for the Steelheads. Yeah, that's a crazy number. Yeah, wow.
You hear that?
I didn't know. I don't even know that many people. I don't know.
I know it's thinking in my head like 300. My goodness, the Smith family. Well, I'll tell you, folks, do not have a problem with the Smith family. You're going to deal with 299 of them. Anyway, no, just kidding. But yeah, you know what? That's going to be a great matchup because the Windsor Spitfires, a lot of firepower up there. Liam Greentree and company.
Right.
Back on defense, Cristoforo's a good defenseman. He plays well. I like AJ Spellacy up there up front. He's a really nice player. They got a lot of good young and Ethan Belchez, of course, the number 1 draft pick.
Big too.
Seems like
big players. My goodness.
Wow. Yeah, he's just getting better and better too, right?
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a tough matchup. But if you give now, here's what the Steelheads have to do to win this game. They have to obviously shut down, do what they did against the Kitchener Rangers, shut down the neutral zone because they're going to want to run and gun with you. You don't want to run and gun with the Windsor Spitfires. You're going to be in deep trouble. Stop their offense, stop their speed, get the forecheck going. And I think the Steelheads can be successful getting on their defense 100%. I think the goaltending, if you talk about the goaltending goes to the Steelheads with Jack Ivankovic. I think is the nod goes to him more, even though Joey Costanzo is a good goalie as well, but I'd give the nod more to Jack Ivankovic. So the defense has to be huge in this game. Yeah,
it does. I mean, you just said if you get into a run and gun style game with them, it's going to be difficult. We saw that in the first matchup, 7-5. Windsor takes the win. So, I mean, if you see something like that, you're right. They just have so much firepower up front. If they can slow down Greentree, obviously really difficult to do. But if they can slow him down, then you have to kind of like the chances more. And like you said, through the neutral zone, I thought even against Owen Sound for the majority of that game, they did a great job through the neutral zone as well, not really allowing either team that they saw this past weekend get clean entries into the zone, get set up. So I think that has to do a lot with the chemistry as well, just kind of making sure everybody's in the right place in the system. And if they can do that, then I think you're right. I think that's a big key to being able to beat this Windsor team.
And the discipline. You got to stay out of the penalty box, case this
Yeah.
Windsor team. You got to stay out of the penalty box. You got to be disciplined, and then they can be successful. Because if you get in the box against this Windsor team, they'll make you pay. They will make you pay. All right, so let's do a quick life tips here. Brendan, you got anything? I do. Just a quick.
Okay, I got it. I mean, let's hear yours. Let's hear yours.
All right. If you're driving, please, if you're driving slow, get in the right lane. That's all I have to say.
It's a good
Because, well, remember what happened to the game against Kitchener? Massive traffic because of slow people. That's all I have to say. If you're driving 95 or 90, get in the right lane. Don't stay in the middle or get in the far left, and then it causes traffic and people are going all over the place and it causes an accident. Don't do it.
Yeah, that one grinds on me as well. I think you've actually mentioned that one on here before.
Have I? Oh, okay. Well,
I think possibly, but I think that it's good to mention it twice because it needs to be said out there. Yes, I completely agree with you on that one. That's a top-notch tip there.
Mm-hmm. And road rage. I got a problem with road rage sometimes when it comes to the highway. Yeah, you know. So, and I'm like this. I'm got my hands going all over the air with my hand. I'm like, going like this. Anyways, yeah. All right. So that's it for another edition of Trout Talk. Brendan, episode 18 is done. Episode 19 coming up. So that's going to do it for another. As I said, another episode of Trout Talk right here at Saga 960 AM. If you're watching on YouTube or anywhere you can find this podcast. For Brendan Lang, my name is Mike Karafilidis, and we will see you next time. But coming up at 4 p.m., don't forget, I'll be flying right after this over to Windsor. It'll be the Spitfires and the Brampton Steelheads. Thank you for tuning in. Take care, everybody.